great way to open. Make sure the page is up and running.
Oh, is it going?
Is it going?
I think it is.
How's it going? Let me find out.
It looks like it is, at least, hopefully.
Okay, going to the page. We look like we're live. We are, in fact, alive. Good stuff.
This is how all our streams start, just us like, I think it's working. I'm pretty sure
that's
it
how
is.
every stream starts.
That's the
One day
most
there'll be
exciting bit.
technology.
It was like, oh, wait for it. Oh, it's working. Boom.
Yeah.
We'll just wait a few minutes for people to trickle on in.
Get the ball rolling.
Get that ball rolling. Let's get a post out there. What is it today? Wednesday. Nice. Man, I'm a bit gutted about this football being scheduled for Saturday.
Yeah, it's a big competition.
That is
That's a little bit annoying, isn't it? We didn't really think about that.
Yeah. Damn it.
The only thing
The most
England.
annoying thing is I quite like to watch it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching it, you know. Yeah.
Have they got a screen in the pub anywhere that we can just go like, yeah, we'll just stop when it gets to penalties or whatever?
I don't think they do. I think
It's not
Amazon
going to get
don't
to
have it.
penalties. The
Yeah.
French are going to win.
The Weatherspoons
Let's
over the road shut, isn't it? So there's no hope there.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I think
Good
they have
evening,
got the
everyone.
TV.
How are we doing?
We'll all wear England shirts. You all wear France shirts. Hopefully, we'll be too drunk to realise that we're playing music instead of a football game, and everything will be fine.
I'm gonna be very confused. I think.
Yeah.
I think it'd go well down well in Bournemouth. Good crowd down here. Like. Right, let's get started then. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. We've got a very special guest with us this evening. That is Blind River, who we're very lucky to be sharing the stage with this coming Saturday, the 10th, down in Bournemouth at the Anvil. Please, if you haven't got your tickets yet, get in touch with one of the bands or have a look on the website. Make sure you get those tickets. It's going to be a busy one. The promoters told us it's going to be a very busy one. So, as you all know, the Anvil's quite a small venue. So make sure you get your tickets nice and early. Come on down and come hang out for the evening. We'll be on second. After that, we'll be getting drunk. So do come say hello. We're very, very friendly when we drink, and when we don't. But you know, it is what it is. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to tonight's guest, and these are the members of Blind River. So,
Hello.
guys, could you introduce yourselves one at a time? We'll start with C. Charles.
Hello, I'm Chris. See everyone.
Great intro. Great intro. So tell me, Chris. Tell me about yourself. Are you married? You have children? What kind of car do you drive?
Well, we meant to like say something about ourselves, like.
Yeah, what instrument do you play? We'll go with that.
Or... I play guitar in the band.
Awesome. And we have Dan here as well.
Hello, I am Dan Edwards and I play guitar with Christopher Charles.
Awesome. And HC.
They don't play the same guitar at the same time. Just in case you're wondering, they have got two limbs. You might have thought it was some weird kind of, hey, Def Leppard sort of thing.
I'd love to
going
see
on.
that.
We actually take it. Never play guitar
Evil Brocks.
a bit. I play a bit. It's just how it rocks. That's just how we rock.
Take it in turns, yeah. It's good and
And I'm
bad.
married and I scream over the top of all of it.
Absolutely awesome. We do also have Will with us this evening. Hopefully he'll be back in. He's having some internet connection issues.
Technical problems.
Oh, there he is now. Maybe.
Well, Will lives in another universe. This is what you have to understand. The Wi-Fi connection is far advanced to ours, but it sometimes has trouble. Like ours has trouble connecting to his because it's so far out, man.
Far out, man. Middle of the New Forest or something. Absolutely awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to have you guys on. I'm Simon. I'm lead vocals for Regional 1, and Callum up there plays the bass.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Well, if Will is stuck in his other dimension still on Saturday, reckon you could learn a couple of our songs? We will need a bass player.
Give it a go.
Not hard.
Get learning.
It's just bass.
Well, honestly, it's so nice to meet you guys. We've actually never played a show with you. We've never sort of met you before, so this is completely fresh conversation for anyone watching. Please do send your questions in if you have any comments. You know how it goes. Yeah, we'll start off with the origins of your band then. So, how did you guys meet, and what kind of drew you together and made you form a band?
They started before me, so I'll let the other two pick this up.
Trying hard not to say stuff like, "Oh, we met in prison."
Don't tell the truth, man.
I'm trying to answer this seriously and not be like, well, you know, there was this time and there was this vat of honey and it was a bad situation. But, we all met through gigging. I think all of us met through gigging. And the band kind of formed. Dan rang me up after we played a gig. I was playing in Sons of Merrick and I was playing in a band called Alzir. Dan rang me up about a week later and was like, "Do you fancy having a jam?" And we kind of started jamming, and then it just kind of spawned from there into something far bigger.
Well, sounds like a proper Tenacious D origin story, that.
Yeah, just one of them things, you know. Like we all played like gigs with each other in different bands before we were in our own. So it was, you know, and you just hang, or you realise who you like, you know, who you think's a good musician as well as a cool person, and just rolled from there. Really, that's kind of how it started.
Absolutely. I think it's a lot of people who don't play music won't kind of understand this, but when you jam, you get almost a sixth sense for the person and how they're gonna sort of be when you play music with them. I think obviously how smooth that musical conversation goes often sort of drives
Yeah, I
you to
completely
kind
agree
of
with
wanna
that.
work with them or not.
It takes a certain kind of person to, you know, to want to do this. A lot of people I've been in bands with, when they start actually doing it and you start properly putting the hard work into the touring and recording involves, a lot of people don't think like, oh, this was supposed to be sex and women and drugs or something, and they don't realize that it's actually long days and long hours and driving through the night and sleeping on floors and, you know, stuff that kind of, you know, you have to suffer for your art a little bit. I don't want to sound like,
No, absolutely. Yeah.
But, you know, you've got to be the kind of person who will go, it's worth it to, you know, doss somewhere shit or go 2 weeks without any sleep because it's worth it because I'm having fun and I love what I do. And you can tell when you're in a room with the people who think the same as that. And this is the first band I've been in where I think everyone in this band thinks like that. And so I'm happy to be in it. There isn't one, well, maybe one. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You can tell within very quickly when you start jamming with someone whether or not they're the kind of person who can put up with what it takes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I remember because I studied music back at university. That was my sort of subject, and one of the things that one of the tutors really sort of highlighted to me is, do they smell? Because you realise you've got to spend weeks on end with these guys in a van or a car, and I'd never thought about it before that, but that sort of changed my entire thought process on how doing music would be. I was like, oh, I see.
Yeah, you have to learn to fall out with people and also fall back in with them as well. You know what I mean? It's,
yeah, absolutely. I
there
think
are some
that's where a
people
lot
you
of people
fall
say
out
it's
with and
very
you're just like,
familial.
yeah.
It's
I've
like
gone on a transit van tour about 10 years ago with someone who really smelled bad, like really bad, and
Name names.
No way. yeah, that was interesting, and everybody had a moment like aside from the person was really nice, like super cool, but everyone aside was just like, I can't deal with this. I can't, but it was because it like just engulfed the van, and then you got to smell it in like you walk into like the shittest travel lodge ever after spending 8 hours with a hangover in a van, and you could still smell it. So taking off down the fucking hallway, and it's like
that was a one-tour wonder, I imagine, wasn't
hang
it?
on,
we speak to a lot of young musicians. We've sort of been doing these interviews now, probably about 6
do
months
it.
or so. So I guess I was going to ask you the question, and I still will. What piece of advice, and I'll ask you each individually, what piece of advice would you give to young musicians thinking of getting into this kind of lifestyle and career? But I guess the first takeaway is hygiene is a big deal. So don't forget that. But yeah, if you've all got an answer to that question, that'd be fantastic.
It's about finding the right people. Like, you can put up with bad hygiene. You can put up with people who snore louder than a Marshall 800. You know, you can put up with those things as long as you're with the right people, and as long as you're all on the same side, and it is like the old gang mentality. You're in a gang together. Let's go and do this. Let's, whatever it takes. Let's get there. Let's smash it out. Let's have some fun, because it is a blast. If you find the right people, it's the best thing you can do in the world. Whether you make money or not, it doesn't bloody matter. If you're with the right people, it's plain sailing, and you'll have the time of your life. So find the right people. Don't worry about money. Off you go. Have an adventure.
Absolutely. And how about yourself, Chris?
Yeah, I think what Harry was saying was good. It's kind of add to that.
Yeah, top that, motherfucker.
Don't work with eggy singers. Yeah, yeah. Well, you need to have a good sense of humour for a start. I think, like, if you are going to be working with people, it's very good to outline what everybody wants from the band as you're moving forward. Because you might, and I've done this before, where I've like been in the band and like very much some of the other members have wanted to kind of gig at the weekend and, you know, just play down the local pub, and that's cool and that's what they want to do, and they might really enjoy that and you might really enjoy that. That's cool. But if you want to go off and do a tour or go and travel around Europe and write original stuff, then gigging with your mates down the pub isn't right for you. So it's definitely finding the right people and the right band that you want to push forward with.
Absolutely.
So you have to take that kind of seriously, but not too seriously, because on the flip side, and I'm using one of Will's stories because he's not here, but he was in a band with someone who was like super serious about making it, but had no clue about this. So I think the band was just a stressful. Well, it wasn't even a band; it was just one person, just being a knob, basically. To everyone else, going like, oh, "Do you want to be in a band or not?" And it's like, well, being up at one venue and saying you're going to make it is very different to going like, "Well, how am I going to do this?" You know?
Yeah, it's got to be fun. You know, if what you're doing isn't fun, don't even fucking try. It doesn't, like, the idea that there's this millionth of a % of a chance that you might make a few quid out of it. Put that in the back of your mind. It happens to a tiny percentage of people. Don't worry about it. Do it because you love it and because you're having fun, and find people who also love it and having fun, and everything will fall into place. All the best bands you will ever see are having a fucking laugh on stage. They're just enjoying themselves, you know, and you can feed off it. And
I think hopefully, I mean,
see a band get up on stage and go like, "We're going to be famous." It's the most boring shit you've ever seen in your life.
Damn right. I think it's fair to say as well, like, keeping that in mind, that the sort of the possibility of income might follow that if you sort of start creating enough of a culture around the band as well that is that fun and enjoyable to be around. So it does sort of slide into place. Obviously, that's not to say musicians probably shouldn't be business savvy. I know a lot of musicians who have been messed around a lot, like especially by bigger labels and whatnot.
Savvy.
Oh yeah, it's a shit business.
And listen to your friends who have made mistakes. I definitely advise that. Find some older musicians or bands that have been around the block. Don't necessarily have to be older, but people who have actually achieved what you want to achieve, and go and chat to them. And people who have failed doing it as well, so you can learn what to do.
There's plenty of them.
Yeah. Come and talk to us about failing, and we'll tell you everything.
How's that, then?
We can write a book on that.
Have you guys seen the Anvil documentary at all? That's harrowing. That. Oh man, those guys were.
We played.
Oh, did you play with them recently? Was it?
Yeah, in Brighton.
In Brighton before. They were really nice guys, man. They were really sweet.
Yeah, they're so wholesome and so kind, and they were down. They played the Anvil recently, where you guys are headlining on Saturday, and it was great. It was so surreal.
It was meant to be, wasn't it? It was meant to be Anvil at the Anvil.
Anvil at Anvil.
It was like, yeah.
Of course. I think that, and again, that just kind of like from my point of any advice would be just play music for the right reasons, man. Play music because you not play music. Play music because that's what you do. And as Harry said, and as Chris said, like, find people that are like-minded, that share your vision and are prepared to commit to to do that. Just have fun, but create because you fucking have to create, man. Don't. There's a lot less of it now because the industry's gone the way it was. But we're probably all old enough to people actually like try to change their sound because they thought it'd be more commercial, or make them get quicker and all that. And unfortunately, you just smell out anything that's not genuine or not authentic. You just fucking sniff out as bullshit instantly.
Absolutely.
People want to fucking notice that first are usually the audience at gigs. Like people miss or underestimate the intelligence of their audience a lot of times. They come out think like, yeah, let's throw this shit at them. They'll love it. No, you can tell that you don't mean it. You can tell it's fake and it smells fucking horrible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think authenticity is so important. I think I've known a few guys who have gone down that route of trying the commercial thing, and obviously when they don't see results as quick as they're expecting, they end up breaking up anyway. So it's
they're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, that definitely. I think if you set out to do that kind of thing in the first place, go and do it with your heart, and then it will probably be genuine. But like, as you were just saying, man, like you've seen people do that where there may be a band, let's just say a hard rock band, and then one of them's like, oh, let's do this ballad. And then suddenly it's like, that's when everyone's like, oh, okay, this is a bit, or I mean, it might be really good. I don't know what band it is, but
I just like watching the music videos of those ballads where it's done really, really badly. I love it. It's my favourite thing. Oh, there's cringe moment number one. Oh, they're getting into a must.
I'm sure there are people who can say the same thing about us, to be fair.
Shots fired. So obviously we've sort of talked about how you guys met. We've talked about obviously some advice for younger musicians. What I'd also like to know, actually, let's start with where did the name for the band come from?
All I remember is that Dan wanted the word river in it. Other than that, I've no idea.
I think Dan wanted the word blind, and I wanted the word river. And then
oh, was it that way around? I get you two mixed up all the time. You both play guitar. It's an easy mistake.
We tried River Blind, but we thought, nah, fuck it, let's switch it around.
Honestly, we were just like searching around for names, and we wrote a whole load down that sounded all right, and that was one of them because the band needed
a great name. It sounds like the music you make as well, which I think is quite important, sort of from a fan perspective. Certainly, it makes sense. The imagery makes sense really well. So, let's have a chat about some of the kind of experiences you guys have had on the road. Any particular festivals, or I guess any shows where you've had like a standout moment that's stuck in your memory for a long time. If we go around again.
Funny enough, people keep asking me this a lot because I play in a couple of other bands, and people were asking, "What's your favourite gig of the year? This festival, that festival?" But what kind of sums it up for me? My favourite gig of the last 12 months, or the one that stands out in my memory, we played in Glasgow, however it's pronounced, and I think 3 people paid to get in or something. It was fucking nobody there, but the other band we played with, and all the door staff and all the bar staff and the people who worked in the restaurant upstairs came down, and we just had a party, and it was such a good environment, and just the sound man in there was really good and made it a really good sound, and we just had fun. And it reminded me that you don't need to have 2,000 people watching you. You can have 10 people watching you and still have a really good night. And it's moments like that that are kind of not humbling, but just reawakening why you do it and what you do it for. It doesn't matter if you're headlining fucking Download or some bullshit like that, or if you're playing in the cellar at some bar to 2 people. It can still be a fucking great gig. And that was genuinely my favourite gig of last year, and there was like 10 people there because we played really well. The sound was fucking fantastic. Everyone who worked there was just into it and really nice to us, and we travelled up there and had a fucking blast. And it's a standout moment for me. That's
awesome. Yeah, we had a chat. I can't remember who it was with, like a few weeks back, about some of the scenes down south at the moment, because we've only just started really spreading out from our hometown and starting trying to infect the southwest a bit. and move our way up as we go. But there's some crazy little scenes. I assume you guys have been in Bridgewater, around maybe Yeovil kind of areas. Have you played around there?
No.
I think so.
Not yet.
You should.
I played in Yeovil once. I played in a band called Kamikaze Test Pilots, and I think we played in Yeovil. I think it was one of those places where we turned up, and there was like a big hall, and like I remember the defining factor of that gig was that we turned up and they'd literally given us like tiny bread and big ham, just like in Spinal Tap, and fork, no knife, and it was like, I remember that, it was brilliant. But when the gig happened, it was like just fucking rammed for the people, and this kind of like the local like maybe civic hall. It wasn't particularly big, but it was really like well attended, and there was like it felt like there was a scene there.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ones we're sort of talking about quite a bit at the moment, because Yeovil surprised us a lot. It's always been like a town I've sort of travelled past a lot, never really stopped there or anything. And we played a show there, and it was insane. The people there they're wild. They want to party, man. So definitely get you guys there. That would be yeah. But we'll chat with you on Saturday. We know a few people booking up there who would.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll talk. That sounds like fun to me.
Yeah. Where did you play? What venue?
So there's a few. There's one that recently shut down. We used to play, which was the Railway, which was just a pub, flat, no stage, proper like in your grill sort of show.
Nice.
And that closed down, so that's now migrated. That crowd seems to have migrated to their local conservative club. Didn't expect there to be a counterculture scene in there, but the political affiliation and rebranding as a venue. So yeah, we played there recently, and it was really good sound. The equipment was great, and the crowd was nuts. Like one of the bands we play with, Grove Warden, they're more on the sort of like heavy side of things. But the singer from that, he was like jumping up on the couch. He knocked a light out, all sorts of stuff, and the bar staff loved it. They were well into it. So highly recommend
on the
that.
couch.
Yeah, there's a couch at the side. Yeah, it's nuts.
Good
it's
lad.
A proper good scene. That real fun.
Yeah, it sounds like somewhere we should play. Yeah, I'd love that.
Hands down, I think you guys would go down really well.
Especially
there.
with like Duskwood or something, because that'd be really with them, because they're similar sound to you guys.
Yeah,
a bit more groove.
Tight.
Yeah. Duskwood?
Duskwood.
Yeah.
Is that German?
No. It's from World of Warcraft, as far as I'm aware. If you know what that is.
That's like Games Workshop or something.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Basically.
That's awesome. So
it's called Harry. We're in their world.
Oh, okay.
So Chris, have you got any sort of standouts, highlights to yours? Am I losing my mind?
Oh Christ! There's been so many. Like I think what you were just saying about like those kind of random gigs, where they're just rammed full of people. That's like in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of great. So we played at a place called Melbourne Rock Club there a few times. The first time we went there, it was literally. I mean, it's just a hut on a road with nothing else around it, essentially.
Perfect.
And like, you turn up, you pull into a car park, and there's a few HGVs there. Like, what the fuck is this place? And then you kind of go around the back, and it's like, and there's a bar in there, and it's like, there was still no one there when we turned up, and then like, as the doors opened, it just kind of ran full of all the locals from people like all around the area, and we played a couple of really good shows there, like three I think. But I think that's the kind of similar vibe you're saying, just those kind of smaller places where maybe it's harder for people to get to gigs, come really good places because people aren't getting to see shows, and when a band does roll in and play one of these places, everyone just goes there because that's the easiest fix they're going to get.
Yeah, for sure. I remember even before the lockdowns, there was a lot of complaints in sort of the South Coast area that a lot of bands were going as south as London, and that was it. They wouldn't go any further down. I think that's been heard. We've had some pretty good bands. We've got a local venue, the Bournemouth International Centre, that fills out now. We get Biffy Clyro, Architects, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, cool. Especially sort of after the lockdowns, there was definitely a thinning, I think, of live music, and I don't think the hunger's gone away. I think, if anything,
I think it actually seems to be reverting a little bit, because if you kind of look at, the 70s and 80s when like huge bands there, like your Zeppelins and Sabbath and Quo and all that kind of shit were touring, they'd be playing every working men's club up and down the fucking country as a tour. And then in the kind of 90s, that kind of stopped, and people just were playing London, Manchester, Glasgow, and that's about it.
Yeah.
As far as the UK tour went. And I think it seems to be reverting back a little bit. People are starting to travel out further. And I'm hoping that part of it is a hunger for people to actually see bands rather than go to these fucking great arenas in the city centres and watch someone on a video screen from 2 miles away for 450 quid.
Yeah, exactly that.
It might be kind of biting itself on the arse and kick-starting a new movement of people actually taking the time out of their day to go to the smaller places and play to people who fucking want it.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I think there's definitely some evidence for that. I mean, obviously, we're a bit limited in our experience of where we've been, but everywhere we have been so far, it's felt like there's a real sort of counterculture movement going on where local gigs, unsigned bands that they've never heard of, they just want to go check them out, see what they're like. They're looking for something. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe mainstream sort of part of the industry is a bit boring. Maybe it's washing out. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people are going.
It's become so bland that people are starting to get like, like fuck this. There's no variety on the mainstream anymore.
Yeah,
it's literally just repetitive bullshit. The same song, fucking sung by somebody else with a silly voice, the same beat. Like there's no soul in it, and I think people are starting to hear rumours of, hang on a minute, there's this little like cellar in a bar where this band played to 3 people and they all came out grinning like fuck, having the best time of their night, covered in sweat and beer. Fuck yeah, I want some of that.
Damn
so,
right. I can't remember who quoted it, but someone said something like, it's sort of, we went through a change in the music industry where it was sort of run by these kind of like old white guys who had loads of money and no sense, and that's when we had all the good music. Whereas now we've got 20-year-olds trending music on iPads who knew exactly what to sell to radio, but there's nothing real about that, is there? And I think that's what people are hungry for.
Yeah, you got a point there.
It's grassroots, isn't it? And like the whole, going to a venue, seeing a band. There's a couple of bands for me that only made, like, I thought they were raw record, but they only really made sense after I saw them live, and I saw how clarity, moment of clarity. Oh, I get it now. Like, I 100% get it because you've seen it, and you think that's the thing. You get that vibe from live, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And
Will might not be with us, but he's definitely watching because he's just accused that as being a Frank Zappa quote. He's watching wherever he is.
Take that. Hello, Will. We've had a comment come in from Sandy Stevenson. She says, "This is great. Can't wait to see you all on Saturday. Can't wait." We can't wait either. So we look forward to seeing you down there. It's going to be a good show.
Awesome, Sandy. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be great fun. Dan, what's one of your standout experiences?
Like Harry said, man, like it's pretty much, it doesn't matter where you're playing to how many people. Like, it's cool playing festivals, it's cool playing packed clubs. Of course it is. It's great. But it's also great like that gig in Glasgow, man. And I think it just highlights the importance. I'm just kind of really just reiterating what Harry said. If you're playing with a bunch of that you like and you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't really matter. Like, yeah, sometimes it's that symbiotic thing where, if the crowd screams louder, you'll play even harder. But it doesn't, as long as you're playing like as hard as you possibly can and actually meaning everything you do, like it doesn't really matter. I think that's one of the most important things.
Well, to pick up on that, like when you're playing to a room full of people and they're loving it, it doesn't really get much better because you do feed off the crowd, and there is that kind of they scream louder, you go faster kind of like fairground ride thing going on, which is fucking awesome. But I've also played to packed rooms where they fucking hate you. So it's not about how many people are there, and it's not about whether they like or hate you, but it's just the right vibe. And you can have 5 people in a room and have the best time of your fucking life. You can also have 5,000 people in the room and have the best time of your fucking life. It's just, it doesn't take. There isn't like a scripted recipe for having a good night out. It's just got to be the right vibe and the right people.
Got to have that atmosphere there, that excitement and sort of anticipation almost, isn't it? Yeah. We had a few of those recently that I think again, I don't know if you guys have been up to North Devon, Ilfracombe area. That was another area that completely surprised us with the sort of level of excitement there. We played quite a few shows up there now. There's one pub in particular that does really cool live shows, and they get like a proper sound rig in, they get a lighting rig and everything in there. And it's a proper job. It's a really good sound system. The engineers are always fantastic. And that's a place called the Sandpiper. So if you're up there, anyone in North Devon, big shout out to the Sandpiper. Get down there; it's fantastic.
Yeah.
We
Whoever's involved with that, give us a shout. We want to come and play.
Well, we'll put you in touch again on Saturday. We've got some people that probably be looking to put you on at some point, I imagine. Hopefully they'll be along.
Yeah, hopefully.
They're fantastic. They sort of live in Poole and in Devon, so it's perfect blend for us.
Mm.
The Sandpiper was crazy. There was about 20, 25, maybe 30 people in the room, and they all went nuts. We were like trying out new songs on them and all sorts, because it's that kind of crowd where you can make a few sloppy mistakes, but it's part of the evening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every show for us.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Well, absolutely. We'll put you in touch on that one, because that another venue that you guys would absolutely kill it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Callum, did you have any questions, or do you want me to push on, mate?
Do we want like a serious question? Seriously cool question?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Go on then.
All right. Well, I'll save the other one for later then, maybe. What's one of your? We'll do another group round the rosy thing. What's one of your favourite songs that you've done, either as the band or like you personally?
Choose your favourite child.
What's your favourite? Either to perform or just the way it sounds.
We always finish with a song called "Can't Sleep Sober." That's the highlight for me, mainly because I kind of wrote the words as a bit of a kind of tongue-in-cheek thing, but it's actually come back to bite me in the ass because it's actually true. It sounds like a fun party song, but if you read the lyrics a bit more carefully, it's a bit more the reason that you can't sleep sober and the reason that you are partying is because the world's a fucking mess and shit plays on your mind. And it's not so funny anymore. But I love playing the song live because it gives me a bit of relief. And people relate to it, and it makes me think I'm not the only one who's fucking mad on this face of the planet.
I definitely don't think you are at this point.
No.
Yeah. I've checked the video out. You're live at Bloodstock for that one. It was really good. So looking forward to that on Saturday.
Cheers, man.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
You there, Will?
Will's favourite's got to be Jazz Odyssey.
A rebirth, Will.
Yeah, I think for me, for these songs, I remember like different. We were jamming the other day, and we were talking about the song "Home," and I remember like where I was like when I wrote one of the riffs that's in it, and you get that with kind of all the songs. Well, like most of the songs that we've done, but I think "Freedom Dealer" is one of my favourite play because it's really simple and I feel like it rocks, and so it's like for me playing it, I feel like I can just switch off and just enjoy playing it and not to fucking think about anything.
And they're the best songs for performance, aren't they? When you're not having to try, it's just muscle memory. You're like, right, let's fuck with it a bit,
Yeah. It's just fun, and I feel like that. Normally, when we play it at the end of the set. So normally, hopefully, everyone is a little bit pumped up by that point. And, kind of like you can see the heads nodding. The band is like full on in fifth gear, and it just kind of always. I like that one. But,
that's the best time to write new stuff as well. When that like. I speak to a lot of people who are in bands and they write their songs, they go into a studio and they record them, and then they go out and play them live. Like, you're doing it fucking backwards, man. Like, when you've got a song and you've played it live 50 times, then you go like, why didn't we do that on the album? Because we changed this bit and that bit works better and blah, 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 blah. You should go out and play the songs live. And that's why we're doing these next 3 dates. It was the original idea, was to try out a bunch of new stuff. And it's like... songs take on a new life when you play them in front of people for the first time or playing them on stage, and you do that 3 or 4 times, and you start going, oh, okay, this needs to shift here, and it's hugely different from a rehearsal or recording situation. Live is where it's at. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, we
So-
learned that lesson, I think, on the first EP, because our next recording, we're up in Wales in January to record. But all of those songs now that we're putting forward to the studio, we've been playing this year to like test out on different audiences.
Yeah.
We're playing a few on Saturday, so hopefully see what you guys think, see if any stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah, any
I'll be
feedback.
watching
always
the
welcome.
football, mate. Sorry.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Man, we
Where
got
are you recording
screwed on
and what-
that, didn't we? Oh, man. Why didn't
Where are you-
fucking Senegal just win? Anyway, yes, sorry.
I think he's asking where we're recording.
Oh, Long Way Studios with Ramesh Dodangoda.
Cool, man. I've heard of it. I'm not... Loads of
There's
there's a whole
Things about him.
Miss
So
that
Dan's
guy.
heard of him, and
Yeah.
Chris definitely has. I think. I don't know.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yeah.
He so he did Bring Me the Horizon's latest album on the heavier side of things. He's done some work with Motorhead in the past. He's
Oh, cool.
phenomenal, really good producer. So really excited about that. I met him back in uni. He came into the masterclass, and I was like, right, I want to work with you one day. And it's been like a decade. So we're
Got
actually
there
gonna
in
do
the
it.
end, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be really fun.
Nice, man. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Brilliant.
And what you got for us then, Dan, on your favourite song?
I don't really have one. I think I quite like it. I mean, it's always nice when you're playing a new song. I guess because you've played the others so many times, it's nice to test drive something and see how it cross or translates. Enjoy it. But I also just from a practical point of view, there's a song called Home, which Chris mentioned, where he remembers he was when he wrote that part. It's slightly softer in the verses, and it's probably the first time that we don't take our foot off the pedal for very long, but it's kind of like there's a lot more of a quieter part before it kicks in, and that gives me 2 seconds to take a fucking breath and drink water, because up until that point my neck's just been fucking snapping consistently, so I'm like
Yeah.
You and me both,
Fucking
mate.
break.
I don't know how we all haven't got like huge necks at this point. Like,
Yeah. Well,
there was a
By the
video
way-
game that came out.
You should be out here.
Yeah.
You're wearing a collar.
Like that.
There's a video game that came out called Brutal Legend, which was a Jack Black video game. And in that, there's these guys who, they're miners. They don't have pickaxes. They use their heads because they're like metal heads. So they put them on the headbutt walls. And their like shoulders are up. It's fantastic. So I always assumed that's what had happened. But unfortunately not yet.
Wicked. But by the way, Will interjects. Will's just messaged me and said he thinks that Freedom Dealer is always a blast. So I'm assuming that's one of his favourites.
Freedom Dealer. Yeah, we've had actually a few comments come in. Sandy Stevenson predicted that when she said Freedom Dealer is a favourite. And she also said, don't forget the Red Lion in South Wales. What a night. Was that a good one?
The Red Lion.
Yeah.
Let's close down. Is that the place that closed down this weekend?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun to play that place. The guy who ran it was a top guy. But as with a lot of places at the moment, he was struggling. So I think they had their last final gig the other night. We were supposed to turn up and do it, but our drummer couldn't make it, so we had to blow it out, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it's happening to a lot of places around the world, and this kind of goes back to what the song Freedom Dealer is about as well. It is about how many times we've been traveling around this country and playing to places, and how many of them closed down. It's not our fault. I don't. Maybe we are a curse. I don't know. But it's the industry is struggling, and even more so after COVID and all that shit. So if you can buy a ticket to a gig, if 5-10 quid, go and see a band down the road, just do it. It's because once these places are gone, there's going to be fucking nothing left for you or the next generation to enjoy apart from corporate bullshit. So please buy a ticket.
Yeah, damn right. Please, again. And that kind of brings us back to, obviously, the show that we're playing this Saturday. Please do come on down. If you haven't got your tickets yet, I did mention earlier, but if you haven't got them yet, do get in touch with one of the bands or with the venue, or check out on the website. There should be a few left, but it is going to be busy. So make sure you get your tickets sooner rather than later. We've got a few left, so feel free to give us a message on Facebook or email or whatever you want to do. We'll reply pretty quick. So I'll just go through a few more comments. We just had a hello from Kieran Hansel and a hey from Lily. So hello, both of you. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Hey guys.
Hopefully.
Amen.
Cool. Callum, did you want to put your other question out there?
Well, I've got a few actually, but whatever. But we're gonna go with.
I just disappeared for a minute there.
It's all right. What one should I go to? Go for. What in your mind makes like for a good riff? You know what I mean?
That's a hard one.
Well, if you start playing it and the people around you start doing it, then it's a good riff.
Where you get like the disgusted metalhead face there.
Yeah, you got to pull this face.
Yeah.
Give it that. Then it's a good riff.
Yeah,
Solid.
that's it. I can smell shit.
Yeah,
Is that
it is
just what I'm
that.
talking
Yeah,
about?
just-
Or-
That's right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you two guitar players, what makes a good riff? Diminished minor seventh or an inverted?
Well, I don't know. I think it's more with like the groove,
Yeah.
more of the groove, you know, than the
That'll be it.
technicality a lot of the time.
Mm.
You've got to nod your head, be like, yeah, totally. It's all about the
Well,
groove.
I was talking to someone the other day. We were talking about Back in Black by AC/DC, and I think it's the only song in the world where you start nodding your head before it even starts. It's just that counting.
That's
Clink,
your
you're
warning,
already,
isn't
it's
it?
got you already. Bam,
Mm.
get it, bam. So you're already nodding your head before it starts. That's just gold dust.
Man, I think some of the best songwriters get that sort of. You hear the first note and you know what the song's going to be. Like even
Yeah.
if it's just a particular sound. I think Queen did that really well. AC/DC as well.
Yeah.
Sadly, so did Britney Spears with Toxic. You know straight away it's going to be Toxic.
Yeah.
It's a good song, man.
It is a good song. It does give you a nice warning as to when you need to change the radio station. Good on them. Yeah, that first note, I think, in a lot of cases, is what's going to draw a lot of people in. I can't think of any sort of more modern examples. I'll have to keep an ear out for that now.
The My Chemical Romance, the piano.
They do that well. Yeah. I do feel like that was just a sort of a Queen mirror.
You reckon?
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Cool. What's your last one then? What you got, Cal?
Who in the band has the longest hair? Or the best hair, even? Do you reckon?
Don't know. Will
What
are we gonna go?
type of hair are we talking about here?
I've
Uh,
well,
So
Will-
then,
Just-
Will's got the longest beard. That's for a fact. So if it's beard hair, then Will Hughes takes the prize. Of course, he's not here to show it off now. Don't know. Don't care. Doesn't matter. It's fucking irrelevant.
Worth a go. Nice. Cool. So
we go.
we're actually nearly an hour in, so I'll end it on hopefully a fairly easy one if I've got one in here. No, fuck it. Let's go deep. What individually? What got you into music in the first place, and what was your sort of first experience with music or your instrument?
Someone else. Go on.
Did we just see Will in the corner there?
Did he appear briefly?
No.
It is.
My
There he is.
emphasis is Will.
I forgot about that feature.
It's a
Was that
pitch.
just?
Brilliant.
I think that's just Callum's face.
Weird.
That's incredible.
Somewhere
He's
Will's
filling in.
involved with that.
Chalk it up to internet things. I don't know.
Music is simple. It's something that connects with you from an age before you even realise what it is. I think I can remember just having a tape machine at home that my parents owned and just recording me shouting into it and recording the TV and just wandering around recording sounds and playing them back and just being obsessed with it, having no concept of what any of that meant. And I'm glad I'm still doing it, basically. It meant something to me before I even knew what it was, and it will mean something to me long after I stop existing.
Mm.
That's simple.
Fantastic.
It's in you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alright. Chris, what you got for us?
It was
Oh,
I
so,
was
so what got what got me into music? Is that the question? Or
what got you into music? What was your sort of first experience with maybe playing
Well-
guitar?
Well, my dad's a guitarist, and my mum's brother is also a guitarist, and one of her other brothers used to bring karaoke. I had many cousins on my mum's side, and my grandmother played piano.
I have many
but
cousins.
on my grandmother on my dad's side played the piano. So from every kind of angle of my family, I've grown up around music really, and my dad played a duo with one of his mates. So I used to go and I used to go and sit on their rehearsals because I was too young to go to the actual gig itself. I'd sit there and they'd just be playing a couple of acoustic guitars. So I learned a lot of strumming, just there really. And then obviously probably around 11 or 12, I think I properly went, hang on a minute, that's when I left
what it was for.
And I went to see it was Page and Plant. I was 10. I went to see Page and Plant when I was 10.
You were 10?
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah, and that was it. I mean, it's just that's been it ever since. I think it was just kind of everything was around me and the sounds.
How about you guys? Well, apparently, it turns out that these two guys are a lot younger than me. I'm just realising. But how about you guys? We know nothing about you. What got you into music, and why do you do what you do?
I'll go for a Calma.
Well, Mum played piano a lot, and she loves music. And she'd always blare like Chili Peppers out very loud. Love Chili Peppers. And also System of a Down for some reason. She really likes System of a Down, but doesn't listen to any other metal music. Only System of a Down.
That's weird.
It is. She loved it. Absolutely loved it. I think she liked the album artwork. I think she bought Hypnotize because she really liked the album artwork. And was like, oh, I quite like his voice. He's got a really good voice, and and everything. I was like, so yeah,
classically trained, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's a proper singer. Yeah, he's nuts.
And my mum's a bit crazy as well. And then I think Guitar Hero was a big one for me. Playing Guitar Hero. I got that and I was like, this is quite good.
I know a few people who are in bands who are on the soundtrack for that and they made a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Damn right, yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah,
there needs to be a new Guitar Hero.
Yeah, good one as well.
That's so weird I'm just showing my age now. Yeah.
It's a weird concept.
We made
there were bands who were trying to do it live and people just like threw shit at them. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it never made it to sort of touring. But it is a fun game. It's like karaoke for guitar.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Oh man, I played it and I thought it was a blast, but I had
so
no
good.
concept of like how it was influencing people because I was already,
I don't know, that was like my first dip into metal, hearing like Guitar Hero and hearing like Slipknot and everything for the first time. I never would have found out about those bands. Like, I was literally listening to like Linkin Park, and that was about it. That's all I listened to. When I heard like Metallica and
a lot of people tell me they got into music from playing Tony Hawk and shit. Like
yeah,
that.
that's the same. That's also the same with me.
But I was playing these games, I already knew all the songs.
Yeah. It's all around me, like hearing.
Not that that's a big difference, and I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be snobbish about it, but it's killer. However, anyone finds their way into music is a fucking brilliant thing. So it doesn't matter, but I just wish that I had these things when.
Yeah, it's just so easy. It's too easy now to get into.
We always sort of like talk about we feel like we missed out on the experience of actually having to physically go to the shop when you've saved up your pennies and get a record. It's kind of hard. It's easy to forget that actually we have all these other avenues. I hadn't really thought about that before, but I do kind of wish I had that excitement built up over the week of saving up to go and buy the next record.
To get a little single.
The only thing
music maybe meant a bit more then, or not. No, that's maybe wrong. I think there may be less distractions. I don't think it meant any more or any less. But
I guess it was a bigger deal, It was a bigger deal if you go to your local record shop and they only had 10 copies of something and you were queuing up outside and hoping to get one so that you could like read all the sleeve notes on the bus home before you even got to listen to the fucking thing.
Yeah.
That kind of shit.
I still do it with CDs. I must be
old.
Yeah.
That's
I get up early.
You'd be dead by now.
I used to get up early on Monday morning to HMV because that was Monday, that was release day as opposed to Friday. And literally for about 10 years, it would always be like, before I went to work, I would drive like half an hour out of my way to go to HMV because I don't have to 9 o'clock, put it on in the car and then drive to work. That's the only thing. There was kind of
You know what the best thing that's happened in modern times? Like, if you used to go into a record shop and ask someone behind the counter if they had something, the people behind the counters are normally wankers. Really snobby kind of guys who think, like, I work at the record store. I'm king. Like, all these kind of fucking pricks. Well, good thing about like being no record shops anymore is there are none of those wankers either. There's a silver lining to every cloud.
I still do that. There's a really good record shop in Farnham called 101 Collectors Records, and I'll often go there. And when I'm looking for a vinyl for someone, I'll go and say, look, this is what the person likes. This is the music they like. What have you got? These are the bands they're into. And the shop's been owned by one guy until very recently. He's always been super knowledgeable and been like, well, okay, they might like this. And in fact, there hasn't been a time when he's not given me something that hasn't fitted exactly the description, which has been great. But I think that
used to be a profession, didn't it? You know, I mean, recommend to your friends and stuff. I never really thought about someone who would have to kind of literally model you as you walk in the door and work out what you need to make a set.
That's a good shout, man. When I was in my early 20s, there was a record shop that I used to go into, and I knew the guy behind the counter, and he'd know my taste after the stuff I'd bought in there for however long. And he'd go like, oh man, you need to listen to this. And sometimes he'd have it wrong, but most of the time he's got it right. And he introduced me to a lot of cool bands that I would probably not have heard of because I didn't have Guitar Hero. It was the fat guy behind the counter in my record store who introduced me to a lot of fucking cool music. And a helicopter landed on him and he died.
Oh shit!
And that's actually true. He got struck by a helicopter. You know, there you go.
Kind of rock and roll, but also really awful. You know what I mean?
It's pretty metal.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine like the guy that I knew him quite well by that time, and I imagine if he was going to go anyway, he would have gone like, okay, bam, and
the one.
quite happy to be crushed by a fucking helicopter that hit a building.
Old age, I guess.
Crazy.
Wow.
Cheers, Matt, wherever you are now.
Legends, man. We didn't really have these kind of. I mean, I guess most friendship groups kind of do, but these kind of almost cultural leaders in the music side of things. I guess it's normally now your friends, isn't it? I can't think of, unless you Google it, I guess. That's not an experience, is it?
Unless you read it.
Yeah, but times change and there are different ways of figuring stuff out. And, you know, I always kind of thought that it was funny, like how many people, because I'm an old cunt, a lot of people, like I asked them how they got into metal, you know, people who are in the, 10 years younger than me, and they go, oh yeah, my dad gave me Pink Floyd or Zeppelin or something. I'm like, my fucking dad thought that the Beatles were noisy and he refused to have that shit in the house. Do you know what I mean? That's how fucking much of a stuck-up cunt he was. And I was kind of envious of my mates having parents that would introduce them to this music. I was 10 years old when I first heard Zeppelin. I was about 14 or 15 when the first time I heard them because I had to go out and find it. Do you know what I mean? And so I was a little bit envious of my friends having that doorway, but it kind of doesn't matter now because people find their doorways in computer games, Guitar Hero, or on the internet, or people are still discovering music, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how you get into it, or what introduces it to you, or what level you get into it. It's like people slagging off new Metallica fans because they got them from Stranger Things. So fucking what, man?
I think that was amazing. Yeah.
As long as they understand that only the first three albums are real, then it's fine. But yeah, there's a snobbery about how people think that they got into music in a way that's better than you, and that's bullshit. It's just you found good music, good on you, continue your journey.
Those people will still have had to. They would have listened to it, and if they liked it, gone, "What the fuck is this?" And then they'd have had to have done some research to find out. I mean, it would have been a quick Google search now, but like when I to talk of Metallica, like when I first heard Metallica, it was literally an unmarked tape I found, and it was a mate older brother's. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I had to wait until like my path crossed with this guy to be like, "What is on the other side of this tape?" And he's like, "I don't know. I have to listen to it." And he had to go away and listen to it, and that's the way I found it. But then there'll be be some kid who watched like Stranger Things who would have had a similar
Got
thing.
the app on their phone and
Yeah.
just listen to the TV. Like,
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
But as Harry was saying, whatever way someone gets into it, if they've heard the music, they've shown the interest, and they've gone to find out and seek out what it is.
They're in the gang now,
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah,
so,
as long as that passion, that sound hits you and you need to know what it is. Doesn't matter whether that happens in 1968 or 2047. It's still that connection will still happen with certain people, and those are the kind of people that I want to share a drink with.
Yeah, well, you having a few on there, Saturdays?
What got you into music?
I was a bit of a late bloomer. So I think it was year 6 at school. This guy came in and he was in the year above, and he did like a drum solo for the assembly at school. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. And it took me a few years to sort of decide I was going to do it and convince my parents that drums were a good idea. Because that's not an easy conversation to have with any parent, I would imagine. But yeah,
especially not in a 1-bedroom flat or something.
Right, and sort of the way I learned as well, because obviously it's a big investment for them to buy a full drum kit when I start having a few lessons. So I had pots and pans on the drawers to practice and had to get into it that way. But then I started doing these like summer music camps around the corner from where I live in Kinston. There was a place called the Music Factory, which is now Bournemouth Academy of Modern Music, I think. So, but that was a really good experience. I did those sort of annually for a while, and ended up. And I was quite academic at school, so I went to a grammar school. I was a total nerd, and I sort of was pushing more and more towards music, and I could see a bit of upset happening, especially on my father. He was a bit more like, you need to get a good job and academic, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, but I could do this. So. I think the snapping point. The snapping point was when I was moving into sixth form. I was like, okay, I'll do academic subjects because that keeps the school happy, whatever. But I want to do music, and they said no. They wouldn't let me do music. They said, you're good at academics. We need good grades. You'll be doing basically academic subjects. And so after sort of 6 months, I decided I'm quitting. I went to music college and then music uni. And then a total twist of fate, ended up on the vocals because we couldn't find a vocalist. But yeah, here I am now.
Good work.
Yeah.
Couldn't find a vocalist. Imagine that.
Yeah, I remember when I was at school and they did that whole kind of careers, like, what do you want to do for a living thing? And I was like, literally anything to do with music, anything at all. And they're like, nah, you should be a plumber or something.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's always.
What are you talking about?
It's always some boring stuff. I mean, it wasn't. They said either computer scientist or forensic scientist, and I was like,
yeah. I'd be quite interested in those roles.
they're interesting, I think. I mean, forensics would have been interesting. Computer, I still do a lot of computer work now, and it's like it's interesting for about 5 minutes, and then it's like
anything's interesting if you don't do it all day, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Other than music, I did enjoy. I didn't think my uni course was particularly great or anything, but I did enjoy doing music like 8 hours a day. That was phenomenal. I was playing drums like 6 to 8, maybe sometimes 10 hours a day, like even on the electric kits, just to, be tight, play the song.
Yeah. It's worth doing when it doesn't get boring, right?
Oh,
Totally.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. And actually, I don't think we got one out of yourself, Dan.
Similar, man, like to Chris, really. My dad played me Status Quo from the age of 2, and I just listened to a lot of that. And then I think again, I remember we went to a local town, and it was 1988. I was 8, and he said, buy an album. So we bought Appetite for Destruction, like the original Rape Scene front cover. So great fucking parenting, that man.
Damn right.
And then
we'll have uncensored music, son.
Yeah.
Story I always remember, and it's quite important to me. It makes me laugh. Like, we stuck on, obviously, Welcome to the Jungle, first track, cool, was playing, blasting it. He goes off into the kitchen, and I'm obviously in the room, like fucking going, what the fuck is this? This is awesome. And then It's So Easy comes on, and the bit on it, you just fuck off. And my dad just comes running back into the lounge. He's like, hold on a minute, what did he just say? He picks the needle. Again, and he just goes, don't play this in front of your mother, and then just left.
That's such a dadism.
Yeah.
So from that moment, dude, I mean, and like, you know, like Chris was saying, man, like my mum and dad took me to see Guns N' Roses when I was 11 at Wembley Stadium, like Nails, Skid Row, and then the next year I went and it was Soundgarden and Faith No More. So it's quite fucking weird being 11 watching Mike.
Like, my first gig was Elton John, so which, don't get me wrong, was really good. My first proper gig after that was Trivium.
Oh, Elton can fuck shit up, man.
He's pretty wild, man. It was 2006 World Cup, and England had just been knocked out. And didn't you fucking know it when he walked on stage? Jesus Christ, he was so angry. Yeah, I've never seen someone care so much. It was great.
It's awesome, man. Music's beautiful, man. What I think.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? It's been over an hour, chaps. So thank you so much for coming on this evening. Really appreciate having a chat with you guys.
It's been really nice talking to you guys.
It's good.
Favourite thing to do in my life is just to talk shit about music with people who are likewise inclined. So cheers, Joe.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be seeing you on Saturday. Anyone still watching, please don't forget to get your tickets for this Saturday down at the Anvil in Bournemouth. And of course, you guys have got a few shows before then. So if you can't make it to Bournemouth, where are you guys playing?
Tomorrow night we're in London, Thursday the 8th at the Black Heart, and then we're playing a free gig in Nottingham at the Old Wine Vaults on Friday night. Yeah, it's going to be a fun little end to our year, basically. So
Fantastic. And is the 10th the last show of the year?
it is, yeah.
Ooh, let's make it a special one then. We'll
We'll
definitely
go out
we'll get a
with
few
the
drinks
style,
in and have a good
gentlemen.
time, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to buying you guys a drink.
And
Yeah,
And you?
yeah, or we're gonna make it a night.
Everyone. Yeah, I think so.
Good, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
Chris is
I'll
driving,
leave you
so
here
I'm-
overnight. All right, well, thank you very much, guys. Cheers
you.
to everyone out there watching. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. You could be doing anything this evening, and you've spent the evening with us. So thank you very much for that. We'll see you all hopefully on Saturday.
Oh,
Excellent.
Right, yeah,
Take care.
definitely.
Guys, it was nice to not meet you, Will.
Yeah. Well, we will on Saturday.
See you on
Trust
Saturday.
me,
Yeah, see you
man,
Saturday.
you don't know how true that is.
Fantastic. Thank you,
All right,
everyone.
cheers.
See you soon.
cheers, dudes. See you later.
Take care.
Okay.